Me and my family didn't ever really want to talk about being refugees. That was just the one thing we never liked bringing up because we didn't want to be excluded or be considered different. Whereas now that I think back about it, when I called my mom, I told him that I really want to do this thing because that means a lot to me. Knowing that my family had to go through so many hardships purely, my mom and dad especially, purely just for me and my brother to have an opportunity and do the things that we're able to do, live the life that we're able to live, that means something. We were on sea for 7 days. Mom tried to keep me and my younger brother underneath the bunker as much as she could, come outside twice, just to like see the ocean. It was really pretty, to be completely honest with you. When you're in the middle of the ocean, I didn't know what was happening back then, so I wasn't scared. I just thought we're traveling. So obviously mom and dad were very stressed because they knew the risks that they were taking. Obviously that was all for me and my brother. There was a hole in the boat. There was water coming into the boat, and at best the boat could have only traveled for about 3 to 4 more hours before it was sinking. So within that time that we had, we went to the closest shore and we got off the boat. That was the island that was 7 hours away from Australia. My name is Arad Rad. I'm 18 years old. I'm a year 12 boarder at Scotch College, and I live in a family of 4 with my mom, dad, and younger brother. I initially came to Scotch College in 2016 as a part of a Round Square conference, which was for international students from all around the world. And I came here as a part of that conference to help Akram Azimi, to help raise awareness about the conditions and the hard situations that refugees have to deal with all around the world back then, which are still circumstances that some of my friends who are still in Indonesia have to deal with. And after the end of that conference, I managed to get a hang of Akram and ask him whether there is a possibility where I could take steps in his journey and get a scholarship to Scotch. I just asked him that, and he said that's a long shot, but we could give it a shot. And he just asked me to leave it up to him. Nothing too serious happened until about 2 years later in 2018 when I was going through my cupboard and looking at the stuff that I've left there, and I found the Scotch backpack from the first 2016 conference. And I thought to myself, I initially didn't really even want to come to Scotch because it was too much change. We had gone through 5 years of traveling from country to country, school to school. The longest I've ever went to any school, for that fact, is 3 years, from first grade to third grade. And after that, I think I changed to about 6 schools within the same year in my own country because we had to travel so much. And then Malaysia. It was just a very, very long journey, and I was just sick and tired of it, to be honest. I didn't really want to commit to another journey. But by the end of my journey in Bangladesh Senior High School, when I was in year 11, I had 2 years left, and I just thought to myself, what an opportunity it would have been if I came to Scotch College and studied here and finished my last 2 years at high school here. The next day after I found that bag, my awesome English teacher, Mrs. Bath at the time, came up to me and said that there's another opportunity, and Scotch is considering giving a full scholarship to a new student from Bangladesh Senior High School, and we want to represent you. When I first came to Scotch College, I was shell-shocked. There was so much to do, and I wanted to grab on every single opportunity that I could, that I just could not basically handle things. And I looked up to people like Benji and Harry for that, because they pretty much did everything that I can think of. The production, they were doing sports, they were getting great grades, they had big leadership positions, and I wanted to be like them when I first came. I remember going up to my current house at Mr. Galipo, and he's such a lad. He told me, don't stress, you'll come along. And he told me a phrase that they used for him when he first came to Scotch College. And he told me when he first came here, he was told that he's just not Scotch fit yet, and he doesn't have to stress and things will be all right. And that's what he passed on to me. He said, don't worry, you'll get Scotch fit and you'll be all good to go. And to be completely honest, that did happen. A year and a half later, I'm training about 14 times a week now, mornings and afternoons. I'm involved in the production. I'm competing at PSA Sports. I've got my 4 ATAR subjects, my certificate, my leadership position. There's meetings for recess and lunch, and everything's happening all over the place. And I finally managed to be, I guess, Scotch fit. The first time I ever walked into a music room in Australia was at Bangladesh Senior High School, and I met my first ever music teacher, Mr. Nicola Cullum, whom I told I want to be a professional musician. The first time I ever met him, and he looked at me and said, don't say that, you don't want to be a professional musician. You already are a professional musician. What you want to be is a well-recognized, well-known musician. And that stayed with me until now, where I've, in the past year and a half, been in 3 different productions in Scotch. I got the lead role in Footloose. I was a part of the Government Inspector. Now I'm the lead role in the new musical, We Will Rock You. And I'm planning on just taking that further into the future because I'm applying for WAPA and that's where I want to go. I'm really passionate about my arts and I think I can make a difference with it, regards everything, like people's perspectives. When I was asked to be involved in making this video, the first thing I did is I went on to my friends before even starting this and I asked them, what do they think when they think about the word refugee? And funnily enough, I expected this, but most of them did end up saying, oh, boat people who come here by boats and end up going on Centrelink and stuff like that. And my reaction to that was like, did you know I'm a refugee? And they go, oh wait, that's right, you're a refugee. I came here by plane. I initially did try to come here by boat, which didn't work out, hasn't for the past 4 years. People don't come to Australia by boat anymore, or if they do, it doesn't happen very successfully. So the majority of refugees that I know of, like 90% of our close friends that are all refugees, all came here by plane and all have businesses like my dad. He came here as a refugee, didn't have a job. Within a year and a half, he opened up his own business. Now we own our own hair salon where I work with him on the weekends. And we're considered to be refugees, and that's very different to what they expected. So they're like, oh, you're right. It makes sense.